Well, ladies and gentlemen, our next speaker, Mr. Swapnil Bagul, will present a case study on the GPS technology in sense and response services. Well, he is the Chief Technology Officer, Writer Safeguard Private Limited. He has a vast experience in the spaces of enterprise mobility, geographical information system, integrated ecosystem, and IoT. Well, he has been instrumental in transforming the traditional cash logistic business from a back-end data entry dimension to a real-time, on-field, secure and scalable business model. Please welcome Mr. Swapnil Bagul.
Good afternoon, all of you. Thanks for the wonderful introduction. Thanks to the team Novire to give me an opportunity to stand in front of this wonderful forum and say a few words of our relationship. So I'm coming from Writer Safeguard. I represent Writer Safeguard. And it's a group company of Writer Corporation, which is a 70-year-old group, more into logistics space. We are into relocations, information management, cash management, and hospitality. So it is obvious cash is the most vulnerable commodity due to its high availability, its high value, very high risk. But before I jump into that, let me take you back into the past 3 months in which we all experienced something called as demonetization. So this all happened on the 8th of November. The next day we were all in the office. Rather, when the announcement was made, about the ban on the currency, nobody knew what is happening. Nobody knew what is going to happen. The next day, we had a meeting with the Cash Logistics Association, of which we are one of the members. And we were wondering about what would happen to all the cash that remains in the ATM machines, the 500 and the 1,000 currencies, all the cash that lies in our vaults. So, the value chain of this industry is that we have banks at the top, we have OEMs and the managed service providers, OEMs of the kinds of NCR, Diebold, and Yosung, and the managed service providers of Euronet, FSS, FIS, AGS, etc. Then we are at the bottom of the value chain. That's the CRA, cash replenishment agencies. So the question was about almost close to more than 2 lakh of ATMs to be evacuated, corrected, and replenished. Out of that, close to 1.5 lakh ATMs have been managed by the agencies. The rest are managed by the banks themselves. 9 CRAs were included with 50,000 employees working on the project. The next day of the demonetization announcement, when we had a call in the morning when we were all blank, we got an appointment with RBI. at 3 p.m. And that was a time when it was decided that we will form a small team or a task force at one of the offices in which all the OEM vendors and all the CRAs would be assembling together. And they would be deciding upon how to take the next step of action. You all will be wondering in this logistics space and technology that we are talking about, why am I talking about demonetization, right? So there was a bit of logistics included into it. And it's a subject which is hot. Still, we have not recovered. We have people who have seen goosebumps, who've got goosebumps, who've got nightmares. Some of you might have accepted demonetization. Some of you might have not accepted demonetization. And while I'm making all these statements in front of you, believe me, I'm not advocating anything on demonetization as a subject. It's just our experience as a CRA, as a managed service provider as well in the industry, how we entirely looked at the situation. So the process was 3 steps. The evacuation of cache from all the machines, the realignment of the cassettes and the software on the machines to fit the new 2000 currency note, and replenishing the machine. Each ATM machine has got an electronic component, which is called a switch. Okay? This is the one which connects to the central database of the bank and updates of whatever transactions that take place over there. Then there is a mechanical component, which is a counter, which is actually nothing but a simple counter which takes the currency from a robotic arm, and these currencies are counted on how much is getting dispensed. Then there are 4 cassettes. Each cassette can house almost 2,200 currencies. It is 500, 1,000, and 2 cassettes of 100. So when the process started, it was almost a subject of 900 crores to 1,000 crores of cash being fetched back from all the machines into our vaults. On an average, on a daily basis, we handle 350 crore of cash. Today, we are handling only 150 crores of cash because there is no cash in the market. So the evacuation process took almost 45 minutes per site. 45 minutes because the cash has to be fetched back, it has to be counted, and the system has to be updated. Then comes the next process, that is recalibration. Recalibration and replenishment used to happen together. The war room that I talked about, which was set up in NCR's office at Vikhroli, was the place wherein the entire logistics scheduling was planned, wherein the CRAs were aligning their routes and the OEMs were aligning their engineers. And now look at the ratio. The OEMs had only 4,500 engineers across the country which were operating. Whereas the CRAs, if you talk about writer safeguard, we have close to 1,000 routes. Each route has 2 custodians. So this was a humongous task. The custodians and the engineers were visiting to the site together. The custodians would key in the passwords, open the machine for the supervisory administration. The engineers would then do the recalibration exercise, and later the custodians will refill the cache. The process used to take close to 30 to 45 minutes. What was most important in this entire process was scheduling and real-time updates. And believe me, writer safeguard with the end-to-end ecosystem automated that we have, wherein every transaction that happens on the field is updated in the back office, by the custodian who is on the field. Gives a real-time visibility to us, and this was experienced live in the CRA industry during the demonetization stage. So, we all used to complain about long queues on ATMs, and still I heard that there are certain regions and pockets in the country which have not recovered from the queues. All these 50,000 employees that were working on this project of demonetization, most of them, like our location in charges across the country, they did not go home for weeks and weeks together. So they had hundreds and 500s and 1,000 denominations at their home. Probably they might have to exchange, they might have to withdraw cash, but that used to happen after they were doing all this exercise. It was a huge pressure on them too. Against all odds, the effect was that there was a huge spurt in the costs, unplanned, unpredicted. There were additional insurances that we had to secure to manage the 1,000 crore of currency that was brought in vaults. There was a lot of logistics to be planned to send that back to the bank. The entire planning of scheduling an engineer along with the cash availability with the bank, taking the cash from the currency, putting it into the van, monitoring the vans, was all done by the location in charges at the respective locations. Well, it was all a good exercise. Today we see that the country is recovering. The limits have gone up from 2,500 to 4,500 and now to 10,000 from ATM machines, but still hardly 60% of ATMs have cash. The reason for no cash can be anything. Anything from the bank's perspective. They might have their priorities towards rural. They might prefer their privileged customers at their branches, and that's why they don't want to give ATMs cash. Or there might be some other reasons, that got published in the newspapers, which were definitely not good. From here, I move forward and take you to write a safeguard. So we are an ATM end-to-end managed services company. When I say end-to-end managed services, we look for site for an ATM for the bank. We get it approved. We build the site. We deploy the machine. We do it live. We fill it with cash. We manage the machine. End-to-end, nothing in between. We also pick up cash from the retail market and deliver it in the bank. We pick up cash from the currency chests of the bank and deliver it to the branches. We process the cash into the currency chest. When I say process, that means sorting the cash, merging the cash in different currencies, finding the ATM fit and ATM unfit cash. And we also do bulk cash movement. So bulk cash movement is the huge cash that flows from the bank's currency chest to the bank branches. We are known to be technology forerunner in the CRA industry. We've bought in handhelds from 2011, GPS devices from 2011. The end-to-end automation software was built by 2012. We have integration with our customers, with our vendors since 2013. Now, today we have audits and other processes, mechanisms, which are on field. They are enabled on mobile. And now we are focusing towards analytics. We have 5-year-old CRA data, which no other CRA has. The entire demonetization exercise, which I told you about, was most appreciated across the entire industry was because of the fact that we had end-to-end visibility of what is happening on the field. That is why we had faster turnaround times, and we could cover up the recalibration of entire set of 20,000 ATMs that we manage in less than 30 days with those limited engineers around. So, of course, when you're talking about cash, I told you about its high availability, its value, it's easily tracked. So there are incidents of theft, the risk is high. These are some of the incidents that you can see here. The driver of my cash van can run around, leaving the entire crew behind with the cash in the van. The gunman who is having a loaded rifle with him can be another reason for getting the cash looted. There are other people or bystanders and onlookers who can also run away with the cash. Most of the time, the vehicle fleets around in deserted areas, between two cities. That's the most vulnerable place wherein some other robbers can gang around and loot the vehicle. While, these events seem to be a pretty old events, 2015 and all. This is what happened in last 2 months during the demonetization phase. So that gives you the feeling that the cash vans that move around, the people that move around with this cash are all vulnerable for various sort of accidents, various sort of mishaps that can happen. And it's not that we are not having audits in place. We are having physical audits, but there are loopholes which are always compromised. And one of our joint directors, Mr. Ted Devereux, he always passes one statement. We cannot bypass the experts, but we have to manage the onlookers, the opportunists. So now comes in, what is it that we can do to prevent these robberies for all the cash vans? So this is where we met the Novire team. We had a huge round of discussions, brainstorming. We had GPS devices, but how can we use it the best so that we can probably get something new for the industry? Whatever happens, the cash compartment door should always be secured when the vehicle is in motion. No single person can take the vehicle on his own and run away with it. If the door is opened but not closed on time, then there has to be a buzzer. So to build a story around it, let me tell you this way. With Novire, we got this solution wherein we ensured that the cash compartment remains secured with a door jammer every time, unless the vehicle reaches the geofence. The driver, the lead custodian, gives a call to the command center, and the command center releases the door lock. If this door is then once opened, the vehicle gets immobilized. Whatever happens, the vehicle will not get mobilized unless all the 5 crew members come back into the vehicle, swipe in their RFID cards, and the vehicle will then start. So obviously, if such a vehicle is available in the wrong hands, battery becomes one of the most dangerous weapon that can harm us. And that is the reason, with good research by Team Novire, we built a resiliency to battery disconnection. What does that mean is, even if the battery is disconnected, the door remains locked. So the only option to open the door is to cut it open. In between, we had several incidents in the Northeast. We manage a lot of cash movements into the Eastern railways, as a result of which these generally happen with bikers. And we have seen that a lot of bikers undergo accident and people run away with the cashbacks that they have. So with Team Novire, again, we designed a very typical solution using similar IoT mechanics. What this meant was that there was an aluminum bag which was built. There was a GPS device and a battery fitted inside the bag, and a hooter which had a remote control. So whenever somebody tries to snatch the bag from the biker's custody, biker can let it go, but ring the hooter. The hooter would be a huge sound, and probably the robbers may drop the bag and move around. We are probably looking at a place because we had an incident in Bihar wherein one of the custodians was shot dead by the looters. And because of that, we realized that pressing the remote control button would not be even possible at many places. That is where we started looking into the fact that if we can have some proximity sensor, which can automatically trigger the hooter when the distance between the remote and the hooter increases beyond a certain limit. This vehicle was prepared, demonstrated, and is prototyped as of date. But the implementation is not possible. We have not yet done it. The reason is the cost. The banking industry will not be giving us that amount of cost, to get this automation implemented, because for them, we are taking the risk of the cash. As a result of which, we are now trying out innovative ways of getting this on the road. Probably we may bear the cost, but yes, that will secure us and our people from getting looted. So that's one project. Another one is there from Team Novire is it's about optimizing the electricity consumption and by using some sensor devices in our ATM sites, around 2,000 ATM sites across the country. We have started prototyping that as well, and we have seen spontaneous savings over there. So that project is in implementation stage at this moment of time. While I tell you all this, right from the day started with Mr. Girish, Mr. Hitin, we have seen a lot of technologies coming in, but I will cut it short. All these technologies would be there. Are a lot of people who are using, we have seen Amazon Go, we've seen Electric Eye from Netflix, we've seen Parcelocopters, etc. Finally, it's a mashup of all these technologies that would lead to innovative gizmos. And these gizmos would be in the form of chip. It's from computers to mobiles to watches. We're going to chips. Probably you may have chips embedded in your body, and that may have the information for you. Done. So that's the last slide. Any questions? Thank you.
Well, thank you, Mr. Bagul. And now I request Uma ma'am to... Sir, wait back. Mr. Bagul, wait back. I request Uma ma'am to come on stage and present the memento as a token of appreciation to Mr. Bagul. Well, thank you so much. And with that, we break for lunch. Ladies and gentlemen, we see you back sharp in 45 minutes. Thank you so much.